with scaling specifically, like those things are just so important to have the foundation built because like you said, like I ran into the same thing, John, where like I thought like, oh, it's going to be so great to have an associate team where if I'm, shooting a wedding on a Friday, then they can shoot for me on Saturday and then boom, I don't have to trade my time for, being able to make some money too. And I
Yep.
know my couples are well cared for, but then Sunday and Monday and Tuesday comes and you're like, I have to edit these sneak peeks. I have to do that. That's on me. I have to deliver them.
100%. Because even though you're not like physically doing the double header that weekend,
Yeah.
you're still doing the double
You still
header
feel
of
it.
the back end work. Hello and welcome to episode 253 of the Wisdom in the Tangents podcast. I am your host, John Mansfield. This is the place for photographers and creative entrepreneurs to build your business, grow your community, and create the lifestyle you always dreamed of. Have fellow educators and experts on the show where we talk about life, we talk about business, everything in between, and all the very many tangents that will go down. And my guest on the show today is fellow podcaster Claire Hunt. She is the host of the All Angles Photography podcast. She's also a destination wedding photographer and a mentor. She has helped hundreds of photographers to get booked and also to scale out their businesses, which is what we're talking about today, how you can scale your business. We get into a lot. Claire brings some tips on how we can scale without getting overwhelmed, without getting burnout, how we can beef up our systems and workflows, make sure we have a very solid foundation before building on top of those, but also brings some really great avenues where we can scale that's not just creating an associate team. So very excited for this conversation. Before we get into my conversation with Claire, I did want to share with y'all, if you are listening to this the day that it comes out or within a couple of days, there's still time to get your ticket to the free photography conference. It's completely online. It is the Conquer Summit. I am speaking at it again this year. Very excited. Speaking on mindset, of course. But yeah, there's you can learn from me. There's more than 10 other educators and experts who are going to be speaking quick little 20 to 30 minute deep dives into different subjects. It's really great. I am going to be sitting in on a lot of these conversations as well because I have seen all the titles for them and also who's speaking. So it's really great. I love that it's free. It's very low entry for you to come in. If you can't get in live July 15th through the 17th. If you're listening to this after that, even, you can get the all access pass, and that gives you 2 months to watch all the replays. Plus, you get bonuses from all of the educators, like a bonus from each of us, which is pretty awesome. But yes, go to allheartphoto.com/conquer, CONQUER, to get your ticket to the Conquer Summit. All right. Okay. Now that I've plugged that, let's get into my conversation with Claire Hunt. But yeah, Claire, I'm really excited to talk about scaling and just what that means for businesses and yeah, it's, I don't know, it's something that I didn't really think of whenever I started my business. I just started it because I had a camera. I wanted to take some photos. People had offered to pay me to take photos, and I was like, I could turn this into a business, and never really thought about scaling or what that would mean, or kind of where we hit that plateau of this is really all I can do right now if I don't change some things. So I think this will be a really great conversation for everyone.
I can't wait to dive into it. Yeah, what you said about I think that's so common for photographers to get into this, and they just love the creative side. They love the art. They're like, I want people to love me for my photos. And yet whenever it comes to the business side, that's what I see so often is that's where they really struggle. And a lot of times we're thinking more short term about how can I get my next inquiry? How can I get my next booking? How can I like stop getting ghosted? Like those kinds of things. Whereas like if you can think more long term about your business, once you've had success, once you get to that point where you're like, oh, I can't do more than this, or like I'm really stretched, or I'm already burning out. It's like if we can think more long term, even in the beginning of your business, about how you want your business to grow and scale and what you personally want your work life balance to look like, that's why I love talking about this topic for sure. Because it's, I think, a very important one to consider if you're in any kind of business, honestly.
Oh,
So,
yeah. Yeah. And I feel like scaling also helps you not hit that burnout and just
yeah,
like where you're almost dreading going to work and doing the thing that you loved and like left your corporate 9 to 5 job to do and create your own business. And you're just like, okay, yeah, I'll do it. Like maybe the photography part is still fun, but everything else is just wearing you down.
yeah,
And like scaling can absolutely help with that. But I know like there's a lot that we need to do before we just like start
yes,
scaling because like
yeah,
you can't start just like expanding and growing. I always like picture probably because I like have a toddler who builds with blocks and stuff, is like that scaling. I see it as like those building blocks, and if you don't have
mhm.
like a solid uh foundation to build
Foundation,
on, then it's just like you're building on just like a couple of blocks, and then the AC turns on and just like the air
yeah.
knocks it over. So like what could we do to make sure we do have a good solid foundation before we start scaling?
Yeah, this is something like I honestly wish that I had like thought about in my business earlier on, like before I got to the point of burnout. Cause a little bit about like my backstory. I was a nurse before being a photographer, so I knew nothing about the business. And I got into it. I was successful very fast, was able to go full time in just 3 months, like left my
Yeah,
nursing
that's very
career,
fast. Yeah.
never looked back. Like it was amazing. And I'm so grateful for that. But also at the same time, like I kind of took off so fast that I didn't really have time to think about the long term effects of what I was doing. Like, you all know if you're photographers and you're here listening or listening to the replay, you book out so far in advance. So, like, in the moment when you're like, oh, I'll take one more booking, sure, that's totally fine. And you're already at like 30 for the year, like,
Yep.
you're going to have, even if you're really enjoying the photography side of things and looking forward to creating art, you're still going to be looking forward to that and feeling the dread. And that's like where I found myself one year when I booked like 33 weddings. I was like, never again. I have got to scale in some kind of way because this is not sustainable for me, for my business, for my life, how I want to live. And so for like starting to scale today, like I would just say if you can think more long term about your business, like truly the goals that you have for your business, for your life. What do you want your life to look like? What do you want your business to look like? How do you even want it to feel? Like if you can visualize those things, then once you get to the point of, like you said, John, of like building that foundation. That's why my very first mentorship program is all about the foundation building, because without that, like you really cannot scale. Like you can't, for example, add an associate team if you don't already have the bookings and the inquiries yourself, and if
Yep.
you don't already have a process yourself, and if you don't already have like the work life balance for the editing and the back end workflows and all of that, like adding an associate team would be an absolute drag to you. You have no idea what you're doing. Like you don't even have the foundations for yourself alone built yet. So
Oh yeah,
I would
that
just
was
say, like,
me in
really?
2018. Oh yeah, because I was booking a lot, and I had a couple of friends who were like trying to build their own business, but they were also like, if you ever just want an associate, I would love to just take the photos and then hand them off
Yeah.
to you and not have to edit and just like get to do the fun stuff at the weddings. And I was like, that would be great because I'm like turning away a lot of people. And
Yeah.
then I didn't think about what that would actually look like in my business, and like
There's so much on you.
all
Yeah.
the extra, because then I'm like coordinating multiple weddings on the weekends and making sure this and like all the images, and then it's like double triple editing because
It is.
I I definitely I don't have too crazy of a trigger finger with cameras, but my associates then
I
did.
do.
Yeah, where I was like
I
used
am a
to like
chronic
culling through.
overshooter.
It's I think it's great. I sometimes I wish that I would take more because I'm like, oh, if I had just like taken a few instead of just been like one. But I think like I also shoot a lot of films, so I'm like, I have 10 shots on this camera. I cannot
Yeah.
just be shooting all over the place. But yeah, that
Yeah.
was a big realization for me of on the back end of like, oh, I did not have my systems and like my workflow of everything completely smoothed out. So I was seeing all those hiccup points and all of those the hurdles of just like, oh, okay, this is the bottleneck. And now that I have like 6 weddings in 3 weeks, this bottleneck is really hurting me. So yeah, I am living proof. You definitely need to get like your systems and everything under control before you start scaling.
Yeah, that's like, even thinking of your branding and your marketing and your website, like those are the front facing pieces of your business that are those like business foundations, where if you're attracting the clients you really want to work with and you get to the point where you're like, okay, I can't keep taking on more, or maybe I want to reach a higher end kind of market, you always have to go back and refine those foundations. That's so important. And then from there, it's like your client experience, your organization, that's your foundation. That's what I teach in my mentorship program, Book It. But with scaling specifically, like those things are just so important to have the foundation built, because like you said, like I ran into the same thing, John, where like I thought like, oh, it's going to be so great to have an associate team where if I'm, shooting a wedding on a Friday, then they can shoot for me on Saturday, and then boom, I don't have to trade my time for, being able to make some money too. Yep. And I know my couples are well cared for, but then Sunday and Monday and Tuesday comes and you're like, I have to edit these sneak peeks. I have to do that. That's on me. I have to deliver them. So it's a lot, and it's all worth it. But I think just that's why I think it's so great to learn from people who have been there, done that, so you can avoid that trial and error and just like, again, go back to those goals you have for your business. What do you want your business to look like? What's your dream life, your dream business, and like visualize that. And then I think you'll be able to kind of know where to go from there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%. Because even though you're not like physically doing the double header that weekend, you're still doing the double header of the back end work after the wedding. It's like, oh, okay, this is not for me. So yeah, no, I 100% agree of just like learning from others, which is huge. I wish I would have done that more. I was definitely, and still can be sometimes, I want to do it myself. I want to move forward on my own. Just kind of like that pride of like, I built this with my own hands. I did it. Yeah. And like, oh yeah, I built this business. I built this associate team. And then you run into a lot of issues and like, oh, if I had talked to somebody, if I had hired a coach, if I had taken a program or something, maybe I would have learned a little bit before this completely derailed.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So what are some other things we can do kind of like preparing for scaling or moving forward?
I would even like consider, like why do you want to scale in the first place? Because I think, and like, let's just even define scaling. Like, I think there's verbiage out there where it's like scale your business to 6 figures and it's like 100,000 is the goal. And really like scaling your business, the true definition should be, it's about working less and still making more. You're scaling the current growth you already have in your business, and you're just like compounding on top of that, like organic growth, or maybe you've ran ads, but you're compounding on top of that growth you already have. And so I would consider like, what's the why? Because if it's just about the money, that's going to come through and that's going to show as sleazy and people are not going to connect with that. But if it is about like serving better, if it's about having a better work-life balance, if it's about being more like lit up in your business so that you show up as the better version of yourself, if it is about like being able to bring in more money where you're not always trading your time for the income, but yet you still have the like solid foundation there where people are being served really well, and it's not just about the dollar sign. Like, I think those things are important. So that's kind of how I consider scaling. And there are so many ways to scale your business, like so many. A lot of times people think like, oh, I can like have a studio and that's how I'll scale. But in reality, that's going to increase your costs, which means therefore decrease the money that you're making. And you're also having the overhead of like the extra work that's required with having a studio open. So like that's a very common myth I hear a lot of times, is like, oh, I need a studio, that's how I'm going to scale. So I would just truly think about for yourself first, like, what's the definition of scaling and why do you want to scale, and what's the heart behind it? Because whenever it comes to like when it might be time to scale in your business, there are so many different factors. Like, if it's a matter of like you've booked 30 weddings, like me, where I booked 30 weddings and I was like, oh my gosh, like I can never do this again. But I still obviously have a livelihood. I'm trying to make a certain amount. Like, so how can I still hit these like revenue numbers and have more of my work-life balance back, where I'm not losing myself, I'm not burning out, I'm not having to like look at a questionnaire before I walk into a wedding because I'm like, I can't remember who this client is because there's 30 of them. Like,
what
that's
was the
such
groom's
a
name again?
bad feeling. Seriously. And
Yeah.
for me, like my heart has always been about like the client experience for people. So whether that's because you're there, like I was, where you're at 30 and you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. Or maybe you don't love having to be a content creator all the time to be able to get inquiries and bookings. Like, if you're in a place where you're really wanting to like not have to be on all the time, like you want to have ads running for you, it's like that's great. I love ads. I think they're really powerful. But again, it goes back to that conversation of like, we have to make sure first that you're attracting the people you want to work with, and that your website converts, and that you've got that foundation built, because otherwise you're going to be wasting money. Like, so you have to think about like these moving pieces and doing it all in a step-by-step order. And I think if you can think long term about it in that way, then you're going to get to the point where you can scale, and you're doing so in a way that really feels aligned for you and your life and your business, and you're still serving well. So yeah, that was kind of like a word vomit, John. I can't even remember the question you asked.
No,
me.
I love it though. We love word vomit here. It's great.
Okay,
The more
good.
words, the better, I always say. Said that once. Have you ever learned something that you feel like you learned way too late in life? I feel like that guy from Instagram who's like, here's something I didn't know until my 30s, because here is something I didn't know until I was in my 30s. Your savings account can actually make you money. And I'm not talking about like traditional savings accounts that are making you like 0.01 to 0.3% interest, just pennies. That's pennies, people. I'm talking 1.5 to over 4% interest. That doesn't sound like much, but if you're talking numbers, let's say you have like $5,000 in your savings account for taxes at the end of the year, that's the difference between accruing $15 and $200 extra dollars. Now, this is a high yield savings account. I've talked about these a few times on the podcast, but now I have partnered with SoFi to bring you a little extra money. Whenever you start your free high yield savings account through SoFi, they will deposit an extra $25 in there for you for free. That's literally free money. And yes, this high yield savings account is just like a normal savings account where you can access your money. You don't have to like wait for 7 to 10 business days until you can get anything out. It's a normal savings account, except you're making more money. So go to allheartphoto.com/SoFi. That's allheartphoto.com/SOFI and let your money make you money. That forethought, I think, is huge, of not just, well, I see so-and-so down the road or on Instagram or whatever, and they just announced that they're doing an associate team, or they just bought a studio, or they are doing whatever, and just kind of doing that because someone else is, or you've reached a level where you're like, I can either like raise my prices and take fewer weddings, or something like you want to like scale and bring in more income, and you're just like, all right, well, I guess I'll build an associate team like everyone else is doing. But if that does not work for you, and like you said with like the studio, of if you see someone else doing the studio, like I've had a few friends who have bought studios and they did it for maybe 2 years. And then afterwards they're like, it was so much work. It was so much overhead. It was a completely different way of like shooting and different clientele. And it was not them. And, and they ended up like not getting a lot out of it, or it taking too much. And they're like, okay, I can't even sustain the rent for this. Yeah. So I think having that forethought of like, okay, why do I even want to scale? What am I doing? And then kind of plugging in those different ways, which you mentioned a few different ways of scaling as a photographer. Could you like kind of go into like maybe a few different directions for someone who's just like, I don't know, I've always just thought of associates and that's the only way that I could scale. How can we scale even like small scales moving forward?
Yeah. So I always say I have like 5 modern ways to scale because these are the personal ones that I've scaled as well in my business. So that's the thing with me. I'm never going to teach something that I haven't actually done. So I know I've heard like horror stories about studios and such. I've never personally done that. But I will say like, the 5 modern ways that I specifically teach is like advanced marketing and systems. And so with advanced marketing and advertising specifically, this just means like, again, you don't have to always be on. You don't always have to be posting on Instagram. You don't always have to be like, showing up in your business to be able to get an inquiry. Like while that's still important and we love social media for the free marketing tool it is, like you can use that in conjunction with advertising. And so that goes into like email marketing, that goes into specifically Google and Meta ads. Like there's so much there. But that's like one way so that, you kind of get more of your time back in that sense. Also like with, just outsourcing and having like advanced funnels and systems set up and workflows to help you save time, gain more of your time back, still serve people. That would be like the second way. That's been a huge one for me that I think is truly the most important to start with, honestly, because for anything like we talked about for scaling, like you don't want it to be a thing where, you build this whole entire associate team and you're like, oh, wait, like I've never actually had these systems set up in the first place to support that and the extra work that's going to add onto your plate. So that's the second thing. The third would be prints and album sales. So I have like a strategy that really like every couple gets an album and the income is from the upsells. So there's just a way to strategically upsell. And that can bring like, I say passive-ish income in because you still have to either design the albums yourself or be doing that like coordination with your clients about what, photos they want and things like that. It's not totally passive income, but what that does really is increase your average booking rate. So if in general you're getting like a $5,000 wedding package booked, then once it gets to that point of the album process, like they could do $1,000 to $2,000 to $3,000 in upgrades. So then now if we say 3,000 is what they upgraded for their album, really like their booking was an $8,000 booking, right? So like that's a way to increase your revenue without significantly increasing the time that you're spending and trading. You can also outsource your album design and stuff too, which is why I teach you about outsourcing first. And then the fourth would be like the associate team. So I, with becoming a mom this year in 2020, well, not this year, 2024, I became a mom. My most favorite way that I've scaled has been my associate team because I specifically found people who really like complimented me, my personality, my business model, my photography style too. Hired them as independent contractors, worked with them, trained them, like marketed them really well. I think a lot of times there's this like misconception that to have an associate team, it's just that you tell you tell your couple, right before the wedding, you're like, I'm going to have this person come shoot it. And then they're like, wait, what? We thought we were getting you. That's never what I do. There's a whole entire business model structure that further not only just supports your clients, but it even supports the associate photographer too. So they don't feel like they're just showing up and they know nothing and they're just taking your place. Like that's, I think, unethical. I know that's a little bit of a controversial take there.
Yeah, little hot take.
Little hot take.
I agree with you though. There are a lot of times that I'll see in like Facebook groups of people like, "Hey, I have a wedding in 2 weeks. I'm looking for an associate to take it." I'm like,
Yeah.
I have to have someone on my team confirmed that they are available
Trained.
for that day, trained
Yeah.
before I even send the contract to the couple.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is me. I
Same.
think that I'm with you. I think it is a pretty unethical process in practice for people to do that because
Yeah.
you don't know what you're getting, especially if you're going to
No.
Facebook to find someone. It's like,
Yeah.
who knows?
Right.
But yeah, no, I think that is great. Of like, yeah, building up that the associates over years and training them to where it's not just like, hey, I'm looking for
It's
somebody
not a
to join the
rando.
team. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, like with having an associate team as well, it's really like an entire business model and structure. Like it's not something that you just do because it's like, oh, cool, I don't have to show up to the wedding. Like I, have taught my students how to do this and how to market it in a way where even clients, like a lot of times I hear like, well, won't like if you tell them it's not going to be you, like won't they not want to book with you? Because they're like, well, obviously I inquired with Claire because I want Claire. Like, but now you're telling me I get Nicole. It's like, well, the way that you market and the way that you actually set your business model up to like take away that like pain point for clients where they're actually excited to work with your associate. Like there are ways to do that too, where it's just much more intentional than just being like, oh, I actually don't want to shoot this wedding now on this Saturday, or I had a better opportunity come up. So I'm actually going to have an associate shoot your day. Like I've heard horror stories like that. And I just consider like, this is someone's biggest day of their life. Like it's so, so important to
Right.
hold that with genuine and tender care and just make sure that you're really building a team in a way that is like from a good place. And that's why it all goes back to your why, right? So associate team is number 4. The 5th one would be like pivoting in education, which obviously I love education so much. That's not for everyone.
Obviously, yeah.
That's not the way to scale, like the way. A lot of people really are in it for just the income. And, I think that there's this laziness out there for sure with educators. But also at the same time, like if you have something to teach, which you probably do, like there are people out there who would love to hear it. And so that's really the 5th way that I've scaled my business to, in conjunction with all the other things as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And with that education, like some people, like if you feel like you have something to share, then you definitely do have something to share.
Yeah.
And you don't have to look at the big names in the industry and be like, well, they already have a course on pricing,
Yeah.
or they already are talking about how to market on Instagram and TikTok. It's like, yeah, but yours is probably different. And like I think it's like, if you're like 10% ahead of the people that you are teaching and educating, like that's still a few more steps ahead, and you're helping them get further. But yeah, I think there were numbers 2 and 3 of like that, like building efficiency in systems and workflows in your business. I think that is something that people don't necessarily always see as scaling, but it absolutely is, because like when you're making a more efficient workflow, like I just did an overhaul of my whole editing process, and I am like in love with it now. I'm like, this is so good and so smooth, and it wasn't terrible before, but it's just like it's even better. And with that, I'm able to have more time to work on my business, or to take on more work if I want to, or to not work at all and go, play in the pool with the kids. And like that kind of like building more efficient workflows and systems will save you time, which in turn saves you money.
Yeah. And I mean, even if you think of like the time that you do spend, for example, refining your editing workflow, if that means you're providing a better experience to clients, because maybe now you can do a 4-week turnaround time than the traditional 6 to 10 or whatever, 8 to 10, then that means like you could even raise your pricing because you're standing out in a way where you're just creating a more optimized system, a more optimized workflow. And with everything that you know do in your business, like it increases the value. So even considering it in that kind of a way, it's like you're optimizing. So anytime you invest in your education, anytime you invest time in your business to further refine, it's just going to improve your business as a whole and also your client's experience with you. So that means you might, you know, warrant a price raise, and then you can book a little less and still make about the same amount, if not just a little bit more, you know?
Yeah. And still work less because you're
Yeah.
more efficient now.
Yep.
Yeah. And then you talked about products and like prints and albums.
Yeah.
That is something that I think a lot of people are a little scared of. They think about like the IPS kind of like having everyone come in and we're going to sit down on the couch and we're going to flip through things, which is absolutely a way you can do it. But like to get into print sales, you don't have to do that. Like I love how you said like every couple gets an album. And then do you have that like built into your collections, and then you can grow kind of like you said, those add-ons and upgrades later?
Yeah, so my structure essentially is in every wedding package, I have an album credit. So it's very obvious like what they're receiving. And it's like the basic of the basic of the basic is the album credit essentially. And so through that, it's like once you get to the point of like the full gallery's been delivered, then that's where the upgrade possibilities are there. And so the album credit's already included in their package. They definitely get it. I have had some clients who will just take the album credit that I've included and be so happy with that. And they don't want any upgrades. That's happened like very few times compared to the amount who really do want their names added on the cover. Or if you create the slideshow of all of your favorite images from the day, it's like it's going to be hard to remove images when they already see it like that, you know? So it's really like the power in the upsell, if you will, to create a better, more full storytelling album for them that is more custom, that serves them better, and it means a little extra like cash in your pocket from their wedding day. So that's my approach with it for sure. And it's great because I've never done the IPS too. Like I agree with you. It feels sleazy, it feels salesy, and like nothing about my process feels that way because it leaves it to them to decide instead of like the pressure of in-person sales, honestly.
Yeah. Plus, like, it's 2025. We're buying all kinds of things online these days. So it's like, yeah, having that virtual experience to where, like, sometimes I'll have clients that are very hands-on with the album design. I'm like, absolutely love it. Come along, and like we can do a Zoom call and work through all of that and like design it together live. But no, I like what you said about like the base, like kind of starting off with like a basic album, because you could add a big luxurious album to everyone, but then there's really nowhere to move up, and maybe people are like, I don't know, that's a little too much for me. I want the basic. And obviously the basic is still a really great album. Like it's good quality and design and all that. You're not just like, all right, and the basic is Shutterfly, and then we're gonna upgrade to something else. But yeah, no, I like that. And it's like it's a super easy way to add on that like semi-passive income, to where you're not like, essentially you're not raising your prices, but you are still raising the overall like price and experience for the clients as well.
100%.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Oh, these have been so many great tips, and like
I'm so glad.
And things that even just like for me, thinking about like scaling and what we're going to talk about today, I didn't really think about like the systems and workflows of like how that is scaling, or this is great. I think the listeners are probably just like, yeah, these are things that I wasn't thinking of. So as we kind of move into like maybe some baby steps of what are some things, the next things that we should do to like assess where we should go. If it's like,
Yeah.
should we add prints? Should we work on our systems if they're not? Or let's assume that our systems and workflows are like dialed in. Where are our next steps to go from there?
Yeah, I would say, just thinking about your business model as a whole and what really lights you up, like what excites you. Like,
Mm.
do you feel excited to go in multiple different ways to scale, or do you want to just focus on one at a time? Like, I think that's the thing where I didn't even add all of these things in it just once. It's like you just take it bit by bit by bit. And I think, the thing is with any kind of scaling, it's like you have to have the mindset of, like, again, why you're doing it. Does this light you up? Are you actually excited about scaling in this way? Or is it just because it's what you've heard about? Like, does it feel overwhelming? Does it not feel fun to you? Or does it really feel like where you think you see your business heading? That's what I'd say first. And I think, like, in order to be able to figure out those things, taking time to work on your business and not just in your business is one of the best things that you can do for yourself. Because
Yeah.
if you're in a season where you've been booking 20, 30, I don't know, some people do 40, 50 weddings a year, and you're having a hard time like taking the time and space to just think and process and refine and optimize and think more long term about your business, then I call it a CEO day. It's not something I came up with. I cannot remember where I heard it for the first time, but taking
Mm-hmm.
a CEO day to, even if it's just a few hours, like I know some photographers I've mentored in the past, they're like, but Claire, I literally can't take a whole day. Like that feels overwhelming. Okay, take a few hours where you block it out on your calendar every single week. And that time can change week to week, or it could be a different day week to week. It could be 2 days a week, whatever you want to do, whatever fits your like business model and time that you have. Taking that time to just work on the business is going to help you, because a lot of times, like I mentioned at the very beginning, I think, where it was like, it's so easy to be like, I'll just take on one more. Like, yeah, I'll take on one more. I'll take on one more. Yeah, I'll take on one more. Where it's like, if you have that time to think and process and work on your business, whether that's optimizing your systems or outsourcing things and having to train someone so they do it really well, or adding these like prints and albums to your workflow and to your process and to your packages, or doing like Meta and Google ads so that you have more inquiries, and then scaling with an associate team or adding education. No matter what, like you need time to work on your business and not be in it. So that means like no calls, no client communication during the
Yep.
CEO time, no editing, like just brain dump, dream a little bit, and then like take the time to put the plans into action. Because that's the thing, like it's great to dream, it's great to think about like, okay, why do I want to do this? Or what does my dream business look like? Or what does my life look like that I really, really desire? It's great to think about those things, but like then you need to take action too, or else you're still just going
Right.
to stay in the same
You're
place.
still just going to be
So,
dreaming about
right.
it.
Don't just dream. So CEO time,
Yeah.
whether that's a day or a few hours a week or an hour a week, like whatever you can do, I'd say start there, because that's going to give you more clarity than you're going to find if you're just constantly in that hustle and grind.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I have to put it in my calendar to have
Mhm.
CEO time, because I will just, I'll open up my laptop and be like, oh yeah, emails, and just like
Yep.
dive straight into emails. Or, Lightroom will be pulled up. I'm like, oh yeah, I need to finish that. And then
Yeah.
I'll start working on that, and like not having, uh, you know, it's blocked off, not working on anything else, phones on do not disturb, and
Yeah.
in the other room, so I'm not jumping on
Yes.
Instagram, and
Yes.
just like having that, I think that's a great idea of just like even starting with like an hour or two a week, where I have like a notes app on my phone where whenever I have those, like I listen to so many podcasts, it's insane. And, I'll listen to them. I'll be like, oh, that's really great. I do need to, implement that in my business or refresh that in my systems. And I'll just throw that into the notes app. So then on my CEO time, I can open that up and be like, okay, what is important for me to work on? What can I do in the next hour? And then
Yes.
like you can have that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is. it's so easy to just get stuck in the cycle of working in your business, and just you're still working in your business. And like you said, you're dreaming of like, oh, I want to do this, or I want to scale, and I want to add on albums, but I don't know where to start with albums. And
Yeah.
then you're just dreaming about it because you never take the time to look up, all right, who are some good album printers, and
Yeah.
where can I find good design software and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So no, I love it. CEO days are amazing and like will really push your business forward.
Yeah. And also, like, just to tell this to anyone here who's like, oh my gosh, but like scaling, it seems like it's going to be even more on my plate, right? Like at the beginning, yes.
Mm.
The goal though is for it to not end up taking more of your time eventually. Like it's hard work at the beginning, and then it's something that pays off like after time. Like it's something that you do have to give intentional time and effort to. And so that's why I'd say, even for CEO time, CEO days, whatever, even take time for self-care too, friend. Like that's important, whether that's massages or getting a facial or
Mm-hmm.
going playing in the pool with your kiddos or whatever that looks like for you. Self-care in the midst of also growing and scaling is incredibly important, or else you're going to lose sight of it and burn out in that process too. So, CEO time is even for that as well. It's important to balance the working on the business, because you're working on yourself too by doing those self-care kind of activities. So that's important too.
Oh yeah, yeah, and you need to take care of yourself, because
Yeah.
if you don't take care of yourself, your business is going to hurt from that. Because
Yeah.
I have those years, 2018, 2019, where they were great. They were some of those were the years that I like hit six figures, and went past that. But they were also went straight to burnout, and I was
Yeah.
just working, and I was like, oh, I'll rest. I'll rest later.
Yeah.
I don't need to do that right now. It's cool. I'm so busy. And then my body like gave out, and I was like in bed for 3 days, just couldn't move. So yes, take time. Your body needs
Yeah.
rest. listen
Your
listen to your
mind
body.
needs rest.
Your
Yeah.
mind needs rest. Yeah, we look at screens for way too many hours with editing and emails
Yeah.
and all the things. So yeah, no, that is a great point of take time for yourself too.
Yeah.
Don't just be. It's really easy for us entrepreneurs to just be like, that saying of like, I left my 9 to 5 to work 24/7. It's like, this is not what we
Yes.
want for you. You do not need to be
Yeah.
working 24/7. Like,
No.
yeah. So awesome. Well, Claire, this has been so great. I
I'm
really
so
enjoyed this
glad.
conversation. And before we get into like where people can find you online and listen to your podcast and all of that, there's something that I like to do where we talk about what we're loving this week, and it can be literally anything. Book, TV show, movie, whatever, new food. What are you loving this week?
Ooh, okay. I am loving, well, first of all, I'm always kind of just a little bit behind everything. You'll probably learn this about me if you follow along with me on Instagram, where if
Are
something
you
is
just
cool in
starting
the
Game of
moment,
Thrones?
actually, I've never watched it. So that's
Me
the thing too.
neither.
If people are jazzed about something, I don't know what it
Yeah.
is. It's like within me where I'm like, no, I'm going to be defiant. I'm not watching it, or I'm not doing
Hmm.
that. But no, I'm seriously loving You. Me and my husband have been watching that, the last
Yeah,
season of it. It's quite wild.
it
So
is.
we've been loving that. And I think too, honestly, just the weather, being able to get outside. I live in Colorado. So being able to get outside and walk around and enjoy the sunshine on my face while also listening to Audible. I've been really enjoying that recently. I'm listening to the book called The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins, and
So
it's
good.
so good.
Yeah.
If you're
And it's
having
so great because it's
struggles,
in her voice too. And
yeah,
yeah.
it is. So yeah, if you're having struggles with like, I don't know. I don't even know if I'd say people pleasing. That's like part of it. But seriously, just look up the book, because I'm not like a people pleaser. I didn't really resonate with a lot of like the marketing around the book, but it's actually
Mhm.
helped a lot. Just whenever it comes to the mindset of things, of like what we can control, what we cannot control, that's been really helpful. I've been loving that. So yeah, I love my little neighborhood walks whenever it feels nice outside.
Yes. Oh yeah. We love that. It's like we're in kind of South Central Texas, so it has been hot for a bit. And we had a good storm come in last week, and then it dropped the temperature down. We were like, we are absolutely going on family walks. We are spending all the time outside.
Yep.
And
It's important.
tomorrow it's back up to 90. So, we take it when we can get it. But yeah, no, that Let Them Theory book is so good. I am definitely a recovering people pleaser, so I identified a lot with the let them part, but I really love the let me in there too. So yeah, everyone go check that out.
Seriously, go.
Yeah,
like
and
right
check
now,
out You.
it's so
If
good.
you haven't, if you like a little bit of kind of creepy, but like thriller, like season 1, I feel is more mild, and then it kind of
crazy.
It gets amped up. It is very interesting.
Yeah,
but
great show.
Yeah, really great show. Yeah. Okay. What am I loving? I'm loving this. I'm normally like loving a TV show or something, but I haven't really been watching much this week. I'm loving Pink Lady Apples. They're just
Pink Lady Apples.
Yeah.
I've never heard of those.
Yeah, I tried them. I don't know, a few years ago because I didn't really like Red Delicious. I didn't really like Granny Smith or anything like that. And it's like a really good. It's got tartness, so kind of like a Granny Smith, to where I don't know. I like that bit of tart, but it's also sweet, and it's very crispy. So it's got like a good crunch when you bite into it, and it's not all kind of like mealy or anything like some apples can be. And yeah, we bought a bunch of them recently, and they're just really great afternoon snack, chilled in the fridge, maybe with a little peanut butter or something. But yeah, probably what I'm gonna do right after
I love that. I'm like, I wish I had a Pink Lady apple.
But yeah, they're really good. I like them.
It's amazing.
So sweet. Well, Claire, where can people find you online? Where can they find your podcast? All of those things.
Yeah, my podcast is All Angles Photography Podcast. We have over 70 episodes for you to binge. So if you like, tangible, actionable takeaways, like that feels like honestly a girl chat with your best friend, like that's what my podcast is for, but also giving you truly like the tangible, actionable takeaways. And then also I have obviously my Instagram. I'm at It's Claire Hunt. I love to connect with you. So yeah, if you listen to this episode, if it helped you in any way, feel free to drop into my DMs. It's actually me in there, and I'll chat back and forth with you. And then my website is education.clairehunt.co. And I have all information about like the freebies, the paid offerings, the things in my shop, all the things. So you can just check out kind of, everything I offer there on my website and on my Instagram too.
Awesome. Sweet. Well, I will have links for all that in the show notes for everyone. Super easy. Scroll down, click on that, and go say hey to Claire.
Yeah. Thank you for having me, John. This is so fun. I love talking about scaling. So I'm really honored you brought me on to talk about it.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being here. This was a joy getting to talk, and more than just like Instagram DMs. So this is great.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you again for listening to another episode of the Wisdom in the Tangents podcast. As always, you can check out all the show notes and links to everything in the show description, as well as at podcast.allheartphoto.com. Definitely go give Claire a follow on social media. And I also have a link to her podcast, the All Angles Photography Podcast. I love it. She has a really great way of interviewing people and just like diving into different subjects, as I'm sure you heard in this episode. Don't forget to get your ticket to the Conquer Summit at allheartphoto.com/conquer. And I will see you later this week for my talk at Conquer Summit. And then back here again next week. Okay, bye.